Welcome to the Johnstone Supply quick setup tutorial for the Comfort Bridge technology. If you're in a situation with Comfort Bridge where you prefer not to use the app from a smart device or your phone, or you're unable to, hopefully this will give you enough information to use the push buttons to get you operational. We'll talk about the communicating outdoor unit. It will connect the 1 and 2 and the R and C to the outdoor unit on the older style, or just the 1 and 2 on the newer style. And the thermostat, we have the R, the C, the G, the W, and the Y. If you're using a legacy outdoor unit, you can also use the R, the C, the G, and the W, Y for the outdoor unit as well. The 1-2 RC cannot be used for a thermostat connection. Any single stage 24-volt thermostat can be used. With the communicating heat pump, any 24-volt non-heat pump thermostat can be used. The only time we'll use a heat pump thermostat is if we have a legacy mode standard wiring outdoor heat pump. Never connect a thermostat to this terminal. If you do connect a CTK04, it will communicate and you'll actually see operation, but the board does not have all the information if a error code propagates from an outdoor unit or from anywhere in the system. The board will lock itself out. You'll get nuisance lockouts using a communicating thermostat. This board was never intended to run in that operation. Low voltage wiring. If you're not going to use the communicating system and you want to use legacy wiring for the cooling, here's how we'll have it. The thermostat wires the way it normally would, and the outdoor unit will have the C and the Y. If you're using Y2, a two-stage outdoor unit, we can connect the Y2, and then when receiving a Y2 signal on the board, we'll run the fan at 100%. When the Y1 is energized only, we'll run the fan at 85%. Keep in mind, when this ships from the factory, the Y terminal, although it goes outside, runs the condenser, does not energize anything on the board. It is shipped in the off position. We'll have to go into the settings and tell it what to do with a Y signal. The G is an optional wire, but when you do wire it up and you do not turn on the Y, quite often it's mistaken for a fan operating. When you call for air conditioning on a standard thermostat, it will energize both the Y and the G, bringing the fan on, although the fan is going to be running at fan speed and not at the required cooling speed. The system needs to be in the idle mode. You can remove the legacy Phoenix plug to assure no signals will be received by the board. The board will display IDL. An example of this board and the right, center, and left buttons. There's the right button being pushed to scroll to one direction. The center would be for entering, and the left would be to scroll the other direction. So anytime you needed to go to a submenu or enter data, we would use the center button. Very first thing you do when you push the right button is you're going to see last 6 faults, L6F. If you continue the pressing, you'll scroll through the rest of the menu. If you push the center button at this time, you'll be able to scroll using the right or left through the last 6 faults received. If you do get multiple faults for the same thing, it will be stored maximum of 3 times in the system. So if you're using a non-communicating outdoor unit, just a standard air conditioner with the Comfort Bridge, we would scroll using the right button till we see ODS for outdoor system. When we have ODS, we'll push the center button. On the display, we'll see off, which is the default. We'll then use the right button to scroll until we have the desired outdoor system, being 1 AC, 1 heat pump, 2 AC, or 2 heat pump. It's important we choose heat pump if we're going to run a heat pump, even though it's legacy mode. We have to disable the ramping occurring when we get a Y signal. Again, if your board has heat pump on it, the ramping or the cool air profile will not operate. After we set the outdoor system, we'll have a new menu item available. As we scroll, we'll see TON appear on the screen for tonnage. Once we see TON, we can push the center button to enter the submenu, and it'll display 6.0. The unit's capable of 200 cubic feet over the rated unit. So a 3-ton will be rated at 1,400 cubic feet. A 5-ton will be rated up to 2,200 cubic feet. Although it says 6.0, we will not achieve the 2,400 cubic feet. When you hit the center button, you can scroll using the left button down to the desired tonnage. If you pass the desired tonnage, you can use the right button to go the other direction. When displayed on the screen, you may hit the center button twice to store that amount. Another item you can scroll to is fan. Fan would be the continuous speed setting. On a 3-ton, for example, the maximum was 1,400. If you were to scroll the fan and hit enter and had a 50 on the screen, you would be 50% of that maximum 1,400 or 700 cubic feet. If you were to use the left button to go down to 25, we would be at 350 cubic feet for continuous fan mode. The gas airflow is also a percentage of the high speed of the max CFM. If you enter the gas airflow and it says 50, it would be 50% of max cubic feet. You see below, they factory ship to create about a 55-degree delta. So in this case, when you hit gas airflow, it came up 94%, would be 94% of the maximum air. We also have other items. If you do have to enter or make an adjustment, if your delta T is in an undesirable number and you want to speed up the fan to drop the delta T, you can scroll through the menu till we hit gas trim factor. And we can go negative or positive on the blower. In this case, when we hit enter, we can go from 0 to 2 to 4 to 6 in 2% increments all the way up to 10% more air to change the delta T. We have the gas heat stage multiplier. This will be on a low speed 2-speed unit. If you're firing low speed, this would be a percentage of the high speed gas speed. So it would not be a percentage of the main blower. It would be a percentage of whatever you have the gas high speed set to. CAP is something some people desire to adjust even if you don't have the app. So this is the cooling air profile ramping. This is the ramping we do with the variable drive blower to assist in dehumidification. It's going to factory ship in the 4 position, or the D as we normally call it. You can enter the CAP. If you are using dehumidification with the dehumidification control, you would want to change this to 1 or the A setting, where it's going to go right to 100%. And let the dehumidification control make the decision. If you're on an air handler and you're installing electric heat, that would be done at the EHT menu. This factory defaults with no setting for electric heat, so you'll have to go to the EHT. Now it does require a standard thermostat, so when you are running in the W, it will make a decision at that point if it's going to run the heat pump or it's going to run the electric heat. When it does bring electric heat on, we'll have to have the proper airflow, and that is done through this menu. EHT, you'll hit the center button and you'll be able to scroll. In your install manual, it will have the set amount of cubic feet for that wattage for that air handler. It will default to 0, which is no heat kit installed. Dehumidification. A 24-volt dehumidification input can be utilized. When it is activated with 24 volts, the fan operates at a reduced speed of 85% of the calculated cubic feet per minute. So if we were to install a normally closed or normally open, and we can change that to high or low, as shown on the screen, when we add high humidity condition inside the home, let's say we set it for 50, anytime it got up to 55% or above that 50 number would slow the blower down to 85% of airflow. It's an example of the air handler status menu codes. This is something we'll see on the screen. So at any time, if you're wondering if the thermostat is functional, you can jump R and G on the terminal strip, or you can go up and turn the fan on. You should see FAN appear on the screen. FAN is for constant fan. When we get a call for the outdoor unit and we energize the Y terminal, we'll see the 1 AC or 2 AC. We also may see HP for heat pump. And these are main menu codes. This happens to be an air handler, so we won't see any gas flow rate settings. We will see an ODS, and we'll also see a tonnage once ODS is turned on. We'll see an example of the last 6 fault. We'll see an example of the electric heat airflow trim, and an example of the DHL for switching on the dehumidification signal. That was a very quick overview. The install book has a very well laid out to assist you on that. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of a visual. As always, feel free to call us. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.